Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Gaur Premanande Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Ramachandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. So today we're going to hear about an ancestor of Lord Ramachandra, whose name was Maharaj Kadvanga. It's a good way to have an introduction to the Lord. Maharaj Kadvanga was a Kshatriya, and he helped the demigods significantly. And this is in the ninth chapter, ninth canto, ninth chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it says the following. King Kadvanga was unconquerable in any fight. Requested by the demigods to join them in fighting, and join them in fighting the demons, he won victory. And the demigods, being very pleased, wanted to give him a benediction. The king inquired from them about the duration of his life, and was informed that he had only 1 moment more to live. Thus he immediately left his palace and went to his own residence, where he engaged his mind fully on the lotus feet of the Lord. So here's a person, Maharaj Kadvanga, all his life, or let's say most of his life, he was a devotee. And he helped the demigods significantly defeat the demons. And they promised him anything he wanted. They promised him to have a whole planet, as many wives as he wanted, all the wealth he needed, whatever. And Maharaj Kadvanga asked a very intelligent question. He said, "Can you tell me how long I have to live in order to enjoy all these things?" And they looked him up on Yamaraj's computer, and lo and behold, he only has 1 minute more to live in his life. So, instead of being overwhelmed by the enticement of unparalleled sense gratification on the demigod planets, Maharaj Kadvanga was very intelligent, because how long do you have to enjoy these things? Right? If you're only going to live a very short period, better not waste your time on nonsensical sense gratification. So, being alerted to the immediacy of his death, Maharaj Kadvanga decided to go home. And now we're going to hear what happens in his home. The example of Maharaj, purport by Srila Prabhupada, the example of Maharaj Kadvanga in performing devotional service is brilliant. Prabhupada uses the word brilliant. Maharaj Kadvanga engaged himself for only a moment in devotional service to the Lord, but he was promoted back to Godhead. Therefore, if one practices devotional service from the beginning of his life, surely he or she will return home back to Godhead, without a doubt. A samsaya. So, Maharaj Khatvanga only performed very serious devotional service for a moment. Just imagine what happens if you spend your whole life engaged in devotional service. Yeah.
So his movement was the heavenly planet.
Yeah.
It was a very long duration.
Yes. Well, it's a moment for them. It's a long time for us. It's relativity of time in the universe. So Prabhupada quotes a very important verse in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, in Bhagavad Gita, the word asamsaya is used to describe the devotee. There the Lord himself gives this instruction. Maya shakta manak parta yogam yunjan madasraya asamsayam samagramam yata yasyasitat. Now hear, O son of Pritha, Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So this is the first verse of the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada very often quoted this verse. It's a very important verse, because, and he zeroes in on the word asamsaya, which means without any doubt. If we can fix our mind on Krishna completely and really focus, there's no doubt that we're going back to Godhead. But the problem is we are living in a world of mass distraction. Not mass destruction, but mass distraction. Our mind is being distracted all the time. By politics, by economics, by social upheavals, by clever talkers. So many things distract the mind. Right? So, Prabhupada says, in the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how he manifests such opulences is described herein. And 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna, and there are 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna, and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna consciousness are described in this chapter. The first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul, capable of elevating himself to spiritual realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yogas. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal, okay, so this is the main point. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely. So this is what we're trying to learn in Krishna consciousness. Concentrating our mind upon Krishna. Now we see how hard it is, because it's so, even if you're chanting Hare Krishna, the mind wanders away from Krishna, even while chanting Hare Krishna. So you can imagine how hard it is to do this, except when you're afraid. When you get really afraid, then your mind naturally goes to Krishna, if you've had a little bit of introduction to Krishna consciousness. Right? So, but that's a extreme situation. But if that's what's necessary, then all the better. Because the goal of life is to have the mind completely concentrated on Krishna. That's what the goal of human life is. The goal of human life is not to party in the material world. Just like every time there's a break, like spring break, right, from college or even high school and elementary school. Well, nowadays in the United States, when there is a spring break for college, huge number of college kids go to some place where it's sunny and warm and there's a beach, and they get drunk, they throw up, they faint, some of them die, they engage in all kinds of sense gratification for a weekend, and then they get violent and they break things, and then they come back to school to study again. What kind of studying can they do if in their leisure they engage in such abominable Rakshasa behavior? What is the good of their education? They're not getting educated at all. Prabhupada explains that real educated person, or the goal of Krishna conscious education, is to develop one's character, to know what's right and what's wrong, to become fully focused in the mind on Krishna and engaging in devotional service under the instructions of spiritual masters, Siksha and Diksha Guru, and doing good to others. This is the goal of education. The goal of education is not to study differential calculus and then go and urinate and defecate in public because you're drunk and pass out on the beach and engage in all kinds of sense gratification. That is not the goal of education. So here it says, by concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Full scientific knowledge of Krishna, full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. So full and scientific knowledge is Krishna. It's not is a dark hole. It's not it is a quark. It's not it is string theory. That's not full and scientific knowledge. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna himself, the personality of Godhead, the supreme origin of everything. So in complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge beyond any doubts. Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. This one statement here reveals all the nonsense that's being taught today in the name of yoga. No, all these modern yogis, and even the yogis coming from India, are not talking about Krishna. They're talking about something impersonal, or they're just talking about well-being and self-improvement. There's no, they're not actually teaching yoga. They're teaching boga. So therefore, and they're training people to become bogi yogis, not Krishna yogis. So we see how cheating is rampant. It's all present everywhere in Kali Yuga. Everyone's being cheated, and they want to be cheated. That's why the cheaters are coming. Just like the frog that croaks, it wants to be eaten by the snake. And as soon as it makes that noise, the snake comes and eats it. So all the people talking nonsense all day long, politics and this and that, they are inviting the cheaters, all the yogis from India, to come and teach them bogus yogi. How to become a bogi, not a yogi. Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows the Brahma Jyoti and Paramatma in full. Vadanti tat tattvajas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti Bhagavan iti sabdyate. That there are three steps in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So, if someone is teaching Brahman, 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 Nirhakar, Arupa, all that nonsense, then they're teaching one, let's say, small aspect of the Supreme Absolute Truth. And even that they're teaching wrongly because they say Kevala Advaita. There's nothing beyond this. So they're cheating people again. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations and paraphernalia. So if you know only Brahman, you have a very small part of the truth. To know the full spectrum of the truth, not only you have to understand Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, Krishna, but you also have to understand what is Kala, what is time, what is the material nature, Prakriti, what are the living entities, the Jiva, Tattva, and what is karma. Then you have some idea, a more comprehensive idea of what is the supreme absolute truth. With incomplete knowledge, you'll have an incomplete life. It's only with full knowledge that you have a full and complete life. That means with incomplete knowledge, you'll never really attain happiness. You'll have a little bit of happiness, but never real happiness. You'll never really attain peace. You'll never really attain love. And you'll never attain immortality. So what good is half a hen? Half a hen, I mean, it's cut in half. Is it going to be useful? Will you get an egg from it? No. You just get blood and gook. So, therefore, people who want half knowledge, they get nothing but blood and gook. You know what gook is? No? It's all the stool that comes out of the body. Yeah, you kill the hen, you cut it in half. What do you end up with? You end up with the stool and the blood of the animal. One should begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam, hearing, is the first and most important. Hearing. That's what you're doing now. That's what I'm doing also. Hearing from Prabhupada. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, Tat Shrinu, or hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore, by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfect Krishna-conscious person. One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart, puffed up with academic knowledge. So this hearing regularly, morning, evening, afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, late evening, before going to sleep, last thought at night, then first thought in the morning, and then continually. This constant hearing about Krishna will help us fix the mind on Krishna. Otherwise, our mind is going to be diverted very easily. Okay, so this Khatvanga Maharaj, he only meditated like this, fully, on Krishna, for a moment, and he attained liberation. Janma karma chame divyam ivam yoveti tattvata tyakva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sarjana. One who knows the transcendental nature of Krishna's appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains Krishna's eternal abode. Krishna tells this to Arjuna, 4th chapter, 9th verse. Therefore, from the very beginning of one's life, one should practice bhakti yoga, which increases one's attachment to Krishna. If one daily sees the deity in the temple, makes offerings by worshiping the deity, chants the holy name of the personality of Godhead, and preaches about the glorious activities of the Lord as much as possible, he thus becomes attached to Krishna. Okay, so what is this? 1, seeing the deity every day in the temple. 2, making offerings to the deity by worshiping the deity. 3, chanting the holy names of the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. 4, preaching about the glorious activities of the Lord as much as possible. Thus one becomes attached to the Lord. So these are the 4 things that we should be doing every day. Getting up early and seeing the deity first thing in the morning instead of turning on the news first thing in the morning. And then worshiping the deity by making offerings to the deity. And chanting Hare Krishna. And preaching. Thus one becomes attached to Krishna. This attachment is called ashakti. When one's mind is attached to Krishna, Maya Shakta Manakparta, that's this verse, first verse of the 7th chapter, one can fulfill the mission of life in one's human birth. In other words, the purpose of our birth is not sense gratification. It's not doing nonsense. It's not going to the beach on spring break and getting drunk. That's not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is this: seeing the deity first thing in the morning, making offerings and worshiping the deity of Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, and always preaching about Krishna. So you went to that festival, right? What did you do the whole time?
All day we were preaching, basically.
Yeah, all day we were preaching. See, that's what we should be doing. Whole day we were preaching. If one misses this opportunity of doing these 4 things every day, one does not know where he is going, how long he will remain in the cycle of birth and death, and when he will again achieve the human form of life and the chance to return home back to Godhead. You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen to you because you haven't been doing, we haven't been doing these 4 things every day. So we don't know what's going to happen. There's one interesting proverb in Turkish that says, I don't know where I came from. I don't know where I am. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know zip, as they say in English. I don't know anything, right? I don't know where I came from. I don't know where I am. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know anything. Well, that describes most people. They don't know where they came from. They don't know where they are. They don't know where they're going to go, what's going to happen to them. And they don't know anything that's important about life. If one misses this opportunity, one does not know where he is going, how long he will remain in the cycle of birth and death, and when he will again achieve the human form of life and the chance to return home back to Godhead. The most intelligent person, therefore, uses every moment of his life to render loving service to the Lord. This is the most intelligent person. And the dumbest person in the world is like Stephen Hawkins. Yeah, he's the dumbest person. Did you ever hear that before? You know who Stephen Hawkins is? He was considered to be the Einstein, right? He's glorified as one of the smartest men in the world. He just died, of course. One of the smartest people in the world. He's one of the dumbest people that's ever lived. His whole life, he avoided Krishna. Is this right? Is he an atheist? Yeah. His whole life he avoided Krishna. That means he's the dumbest person in the world. And he's being glorified as the smartest person in the world. You see how misled people are. You know, they take the dumbest person and they glorify him as the smartest person. And the smartest person, like Prabhupada, they ignore him. Maharaj Khatvanga thought, not even my life is dearer to me than the Brahminical culture and the Brahmanas, who are worshipped by my family. What then is to be said of my kingdom, land, wife, children, and opulence? Nothing is dearer to me than the Brahmanas. Well, Brahmanas are the symbol of spiritual education. That's why he's saying that. Right? Real Brahmanas, not the fake Brahmanas, but the real Brahmanas. In purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Maharaj Khatvanga, being in favor of the Brahminical culture, wanted to utilize one moment's time by fully surrendering unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is worshipped with the following prayer. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanahitaya Cha Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Absolute Truth, Lord Krishna, who is the well-wisher of the cows and the brahmanas, as well as the living entities in general. I offer my repeated obeisances to Govinda, who is the pleasure reservoir for all the senses. A devotee of Krishna is very much attached to Brahminical culture. Indeed, an expert personality who knows who Krishna is and what he wants is a real Brahmana. So this is the definition of real Brahmana. He knows who Krishna is and what Krishna wants. What does Krishna want? Huh? He wants us to think of him always, right? Therefore, Tasmat sarve sukalesu mam anusmara yudhyacha maya arpita mano buddhir mam evaisisi samsaya. So, the Lord says, therefore, Arjuna, at all times, think of me and do your duty in life. With your mind and intelligence fixed on me, surely you will come back to me. So this is what he wants. He wants us to be thinking of him, not of my sweetheart, not of my dog, not of my stock options, not of my 401k, not of my weekend excursion to the beach where I can throw up and faint from drinking and smoking. No, not of that nonsense. Krishna wants us to think of him always. Let me ask a question to any parent. Do you want your children to be thinking of your instructions to them? What do you think, Prabhu? Yeah, right? Do you want them to think about smoking marijuana? No. You want them to think about the good instructions that you're giving, right, as a parent. Well, Krishna's, huh? Yeah, you get upset. So now Krishna is the ultimate parent of all living entities. And just like you as a parent, you want your children to remember all the good advice you give them. Krishna wants you to remember his Bhagavad Gita. Remember him. See? So therefore, he also says, besides that verse, in the 8th chapter, it says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina purusha paramam purusham divyam yati partana chintayam. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. So, this is the formula for real success in life. What was Stephen Hawkins thinking about when he died? What do you think, Brother? Yeah, everything's over, right? So, is that what Krishna says? Think that you'll be nothing when you die, after you die. Now, by the way, Stephen Hawking is such a bluffer. Right before he died, he said, I know what came before the Big Bang. But he didn't answer the question. He just said, I know what came before the Big Bang. Yeah, before the Big Bang, there was the Big Bum. You know. He doesn't know what he's talking about. His whole life he speculated. But because he knew mathematical language, people get confused. Right? 'Cause very few people can read mathematical language. Therefore, you know, other mathematicians, they're also bluffers. They say, oh, this is wonderful. You know, he made so many predictions. Not one of his predictions have come true. Einstein made some predictions. Some of them have come true. Right? So he's considered, you know, a real expert. Hawkins, I don't know. You know better than I do. Did any of his predictions come true? Just theory. Yeah, and before he died, he came up with a whole bunch of theories. You know, these people are bluffers, but they're very intelligent bluffers. Right? So, it says here, a devotee of Krishna is very much attached to Brahminical culture. Indeed, an expert personality who knows who Krishna is and what he wants is a real Brahmana. Brahma Janatiti Brahmana. Krishna is the Param Brahma. And therefore, all Krishna-conscious persons or devotees of Krishna are exalted Brahmanas. Khatvanga Maharaj regarded the devotees of Krishna as the real Brahmanas and the real light for human society. Now, this is an important point. The devotees of Krishna as the real Brahmanas. They are devotees of Lord Shiva. They are devotees of Ma Durga. They are devotees of, who knows, this so-called guru who's the incarnation of God. And the real devotees, the real Brahmanas are the devotees of Krishna, but those devotees who strictly follow Krishna consciousness. Khatvanga Maharaj regarded the devotees of Krishna as the real Brahmanas and the real light for human society. One who desires to advance in Krishna consciousness and spiritual understanding must give the utmost importance to Brahminical culture and must understand Krishna, Krishnaya Govindaya. Then his life will be successful. So now we understand what is the real goal of knowledge: to know Krishna. Not to know differential calculus. That may be useful for making a living. Just like one time there was a devotee astrologer. He's still around. He's a pretty famous guy. And he was advocating how important astrology is for the devotees. And I had a discussion with him in private once. I said, listen, Prabhu, why don't you stop this? It's so important for devotees. It's important for you because you can make your living by being an astrologer. But astrology only pertains to those devotees who are still influenced by the modes of material nature, just like the living entities who are still influenced by the modes of material. It doesn't pertain to a devotee. The devotee is under the protection of Krishna. He's not under the direction of the stars. And there's a direct quote by Prabhupada that says that astrology has no relevance to the devotees because the devotees are under the protection of Krishna. So therefore it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim pakritim asritaha. This means that the devotees are under the divine protection of the Lord. Therefore, they're not influenced by astrology or the movement of the planets. That's only for people who still are attached to the material world. Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim pakritim asritaha bhajanti ananyam manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. What is this daivim pakritim? The divine nature, there's two things. There's material nature and there's the divine nature. What is the difference between the two? This is explained in the Brahma Samhita. The divine nature is called Chid Dharma. Chid Dharma is a place where you see Krishna all the time. Chid Dhamma is a place where there's no limit to length, width, and height. It's 3 dimensions. 3 dimensions are unlimited. Here, the 3 dimensions are limited. The Chid Dhamma is a place where there's always transcendental bliss. The Chid Dhamma is, and let me read the description of it. It has transcendental personalities who are always in an ecstatic mood of love and devotion for Krishna. The Chid Dhamma is a place where you see the 64 artistic qualities demonstrated in full. The Chid Dhamma is a place where time is the eternal present. It's not past, present, and future. See? So we have no idea of what is the actual spiritual nature or the Chiddhamma. This is explained in, what this is explained in Bhāma Samhita 5th chapter, 33rd verse. Advaitam achutim anadim ananta rupam adyam purana purusham navayovanam cha vede sudurlabam adurlabam atmabhakto govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas. In other words, you cannot understand Krishna by reading the Vedas. Did you ever hear this before? Does that make sense? No, but that's what it says. You cannot understand Krishna by reading the Vedas. But obtainable, you can understand Krishna by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul. So by pure devotion, you can understand Krishna. You can't understand him by reading the Vedas. Bhaktya tvananyaya satya aham evam vidurirjana gyatam drastam tatvena pravestam cha parantapa. Hey Arjuna, 11th chapter, 54th verse. I can only be understood by pure devotional service, as I am standing before you right now. Or Bhaktya mam abhijananti yavanyas chasmi tatpata. I can only be understood by devotional service. Bhaktya mam abhijananti. So, this is not a surprising statement when Brahma says, Vede Sadurlabham. It's very difficult or not possible to understand me by reading the Vedas. And then it says, but I am obtainable by pure devotion, unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming birth. So Krishna, there's no one equal to Krishna, no one greater than Krishna. His body never deteriorates. His body is spiritual, meaning he's different than us. There's a difference between our body and our soul. There's no difference between Krishna's body and his soul. Therefore, Krishna knows past, present, and future. We forget the past, and we don't know what the future is, and we have a hazy idea of the present. Krishna knows perfectly past, present, and future. Who is the beginning? In other words, before creation, material creation, Krishna was existing. And the eternal Purusha, he is the ultimate enjoyer of everything, and a person. And yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth, meaning he never gets old. So this is the spiritual nature, the Chiddhamma. Krishna engages in exhibiting the pastimes of birth. Still, he's without a beginning. Right? It appears as if he's born, but he's beginningless. Though he disappears after the pastimes of his appearance, still he's eternal. In other words, he never dies, although sometimes it looks like he leaves his body, but he doesn't. Though without origin, yet he is with an origin in his pastime of appearance. And although eternal in essence, he is still a person in the full bloom of youth. The sum and substance of it is that, though he possesses diverse and apparently mutually contradictory qualities, still they are in universal harmonious concordance by dint of his unthinkable potency. This is what is meant by Chiddharma, transcendental nature, as distinguished from the material nature. So, the devotees are living in the, they can enter into this Chiddharma, this transcendental nature, by Krishna consciousness. One who desires to advance in Krishna consciousness and spiritual understanding must give the utmost importance to Brahminical culture and must understand Krishna, Krishnaya Govindaya. Then his life will be successful. You want to be a success in life, then you have to take up Krishna consciousness and Brahminical culture. Brahminical culture means samadhammak tapak sucham santirajvamevacha yanam vijnanam sahitam brahma karma swabhavajam. So this Brahminical culture means equilibrium of the mind. Someone insults you, you don't get angry. When there's great success, you don't get elated. When there's defeat, you don't get disturbed by it. It has to be an equilibrium of the mind. Samadhamma, and there has to be control of the mind. You always keep the mind focused on Krishna. You don't let anything divert your mind from Krishna. That means you still function in society. There are people that think all day long about sense gratification, but yet their fathers or mothers, they CEOs or their employees, they take their kids to the Carnatic music class. They do this, they do that, they do all these things, but all day long they're thinking about sense gratification. So if someone can do that, that proves it's not impossible to all day long think about Krishna but still function in society. Is it not? I know many people, all they think about is sense gratification all day long. I know people, there's one employee in our factory, all day long he has a little mini radio and he's listening to the sports channel, 24-hour sports channel. All day long. And I'm sure all night long. He never turns that off. But yet he's doing his work, he's doing this, he's doing that. So if people can do that with their mind, why can't they think 24 hours a day of Krishna? When we say you should think of Krishna 24 hours a day, people are, oh my God, I can't do that. It's impossible. How will I function in society? But yet, there are people thinking 24 hours a day about making money. But yet they function. 24 hours a day about sense gratification, yet they function. So it's possible to think of Krishna 24 hours a day and function in society. Maharaj Khatvanga continues, I was never attracted, even in my childhood, by insignificant things or irreligious principles. I did not find anything more substantial than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is education. This is education of children right here. If you can educate your child to never be attracted, even in childhood, by insignificant things or irreligious principles, and not to think there's anything more substantial than Krishna, then if your child is like that, you have succeeded in educating your child. Maharaj Khatvanga provided a typical example of a Krishna-conscious person. A Krishna-conscious person does not see anything to be important but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor does he or she accept anything within this material world as being unconnected to the Supreme Lord. In other words, they see everything in relationship with Krishna. So Krishna being the proprietor of everything, they cannot use anything for their own sense gratification. They learn how to use everything in Krishna's service. That's real knowledge. A Krishna-conscious person does not see anything to be important but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor does he accept anything within this world as being unconnected to the Supreme Lord. As stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Stavara Jangama Deke Na Deke Tara Murti Sarvatra Haya Nija Ishtadeva Spurti. The Mahabhagavata, the advanced devotee, certainly sees everything mobile and immobile, but he does not exactly see their forms. Rather, everywhere he immediately sees manifest the form of the Supreme Lord. In other words, when you look at it, when a devotee looks at a tree, he doesn't actually see the tree, he sees Krishna. And the relationship of the tree to Krishna. He doesn't see things in and of themselves. Just like in Immanuel Kant, he talks about the thing in itself. It's a philosophical statement. I forget the German way of saying it. But in other words, he's looking at the thing as being the essence of itself. That is incorrect philosophy. The correct philosophy is to see a thing in relationship to Krishna. It's not something in relationship to itself. It has a deeper substance than itself. That is, its relationship to Krishna. If you see a thing in and of itself, you're seeing incorrectly. Although a devotee is within the material world, he has no connection with it. That means he's not attached to anything in the material world. He's only attached to Krishna. So, whenever he's handling material things, he handles it as the property of Krishna. He doesn't see it separate from Krishna. Not like, this is mine. Okay, that other thing maybe is for Krishna, but this is mine. He doesn't see things like that. He sees that everything belongs to the Lord. He accepts this material world in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A devotee may be engaged in earning money, but he uses that money for propagating the Krishna consciousness movement by constructing large temples and establishing worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like today, you're going to see a brand new outfit again. Right? Each outfit costs $5,000 minimum. Sometimes $7,000 now, because we're trying to get only top-of-the-line outfits. Well, that's a lot of money. Right? And then every week we're spending $3,000, $2,500, $3,000 on flowers that you only use one day and then they become prasadam. Right? And every day we're cooking so much food. One time a person said, Prabhu, you're not managing the temple properly. I said, really? What am I doing wrong? He said, you don't have to have fresh flowers every day. You can buy plastic flowers from Taiwan. You offer it once a year. Look at all the money you're going to save. And he said, you don't have to distribute all this prasadam, and you're putting ghee in it. You don't have to put ghee in it. Just get misri, a little white sugar crap product, you know. That's all they give in the temples in India. You come and they give you one white sugar thing, you know, misri. I said, Prabhu, I don't think you understand anything about these. He said, oh no, I understand everything. You know, you have to be frugal. You have to manage the temple correctly. I said, what you're describing is the incorrect way of managing the temple. Said, no. You're wasting Krishna's money. I said, that's the whole point. It's his money. It's not our money. Therefore, we should use it for him. You see how crazy people are. There was once a Muslim man, and it was Ramadan, and he was a very wealthy man. He gave away most of his wealth on the one day, and he was very wealthy. So one Hindu heard about this, you know, and he said, wait a minute, this guy is a Muslim? And he gave away almost everything he has? You know, I'm a Hindu. I go to the temple, I do 4 or 5 rupees, and I have crores of rupees in the bank. I just give a little donation. I said, what the hell is this? What kind of Hindu am I? So he got inspired by the Muslim guy, and he gave away his whole fortune to worshiping Balaji in Tirupati. He said, what is this? This guy's a Muslim. He gave away millions of dollars in one day. I'm a Hindu. I hardly give anything when I go to the temple. He gave away his whole fortune. You see. Well, that's a real devotee. Because money is blood. People, you know, one time a man came to the temple and said, I want to give a donation. So I said, oh, thank you. And I tried to get it. He pulled it back like this. You know, like, it was a natural knee jerk, right? I said, are you going to give? So, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. So and then the second time, he pulled it back a little bit. And the third time, I actually grabbed it, you know. Yes. Khatvanga Maharaj, therefore, was not a materialist. A materialist is always attached to wife or husband, children, home, property, and many other things for sense gratification. But as stated above, Khatvanga Maharaj was not attached to such things, nor could he think of anything existing without the purpose of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Ishavaisham midam sarvam. Everything is related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of course. This consciousness is not for the ordinary person, but if one takes to the path of devotional service as prescribed in the Nectar of Devotion, he can be trained in this consciousness and attain perfect understanding. For a Krishna-conscious person, nothing is palatable without a relationship with Krishna. The demigods, the directors of the three worlds, wanted to give me, Khatvanga Maharaj is talking now, because he helped them defeat the demons, whatever benediction I desired. I did not want their benedictions. However, because I am interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who created everything in this material world, I am more interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead than in all material benedictions. Srila Prabhupada writes, a devotee is always transcendentally situated. Param dristva nivartate. One who has seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead is no longer interested in material sense enjoyment. Even such an exalted devotee as Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest for the sake of material benefit. But when he actually saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he refused to accept any material benediction. He said, Swamim kutartosmi varam na yache. My dear Lord, I am fully satisfied with whatever you have given me or not given me. I have nothing to ask from you, for I am fully satisfied to be engaged in your service. This is the mentality of a pure devotee who does not want anything material or spiritual from the personality of Godhead. See? He doesn't say anything material. He says anything material or spiritual. He doesn't want liberation. He doesn't want a beautiful body. He doesn't want many followers. He doesn't want anything. He doesn't want to be glorious or famous. He simply wants to be engaged in service, humbly. This is the mentality of a pure devotee who does not want anything material or spiritual from the personality of Godhead. Our Krishna consciousness movement is therefore called Krishna Bhavanamrita Sangha, the association of persons who are simply satisfied in thoughts of Krishna. This is the actual Sanskrit from which the Prabhupada derived the word Krishna consciousness. Krishna Bhavanamrita Sangha, the association of Krishna Bhavanamrita. People who are engaged in the transcendental ocean of contemplation of Krishna. Being absorbed in thoughts of Krishna is neither expensive nor troublesome. Krishna says, Man manabhava mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Offer obeisances and worship me. Bhagavad Gita 9:34. Anyone can always think of Krishna without difficulties or obstacles. This is called Krishna Bhavanamrita. One who is absorbed in Krishna Bhavanamrita, or Krishna consciousness. So remember, this word Krishna Bhavanamrita is the Sanskrit for Krishna consciousness. Bhavanamrita means, Amrita means eternal nectar. And Bhava means ecstasy. So one who's in the eternal nectarine ecstasy of Krishna, or thinking of Krishna. One who is absorbed in Krishna Bhavanamrita has no material benefits to ask from Krishna. Instead, such a person prays to the Lord for the benediction of being able to spread his glories all over the world. Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhakti rahaituki tvai. A Krishna conscious person does not even want to stop his cycle of birth and death. He simply prays, I may take birth as you like, but my only prayer is that I may be engaged in your service. Even though the demigods have the advantages of being situated in a higher planetary system, their minds, senses, and intelligence are agitated by material conditions. Therefore, even such elevated persons fail to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is eternally situated in the core of the heart. What then is to be said of others, such as human beings, who have fewer advantages? So even the demigods are disturbed although they have tremendous facilities, much better than anything imaginable in this world, in this planet, for sense gratification. And every facility for sense gratification or for spiritual life, but still they're disturbed. Still. It is a fact that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always situated in everyone's heart. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridaya sedrajuna tistati. But because of our material anxieties, which are inevitable in this material world, we cannot understand the Supreme Lord, although he is situated so near to us. For those always agitated by material conditions, the yogic process is recommended so that one may concentrate his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the heart. So the yoga asanas and breathing exercises are recommended for people whose minds are always agitated. Or the best is for people always talking nonsense, monavrata. Make a vow not to speak, because anything that comes out of your mouth is nonsense. So therefore, don't speak for 40 years. Yeah. There are people like that. So, for example, there's Meher Baba. You ever hear of Meher Baba? No? You ever hear of Meher? Never? You know. Yeah, he's heard of Meher Baba. These are big-time impersonalists. Meher Baba actually kept monavrata, didn't talk for, I think it was 40 years. When Prabhupada was asked about him, he said, yes, he shouldn't talk for 40 lifetimes. He's a nonsense. Whatever he says is nonsense comes out of his mouth. Better he doesn't talk at all. So, yeah, those are, let's say, artificial means of controlling the senses. Right? Like, for example, if I put a blindfold on your eyes, put cotton in your ears, tie your hands behind your back, tie your feet, and put you in a dark room, your senses are, at least the 5 senses are controlled. The mind, of course, will be out of control. But the 5 senses would be controlled. So, but that's an artificial control. It's not real. Because your mind would be dwelling, when can I be free? I want to go and be meditating on sense gratification all the time. And distressed and agitated. But by chanting Hare Krishna, you can bring the mind under control naturally by having it engaged in something superior to sense gratification, that is meditating on Krishna through his holy name. If you don't believe me, try it. If you chant sincerely, eventually your mind becomes calm and you're not so disturbed by what's happening in the world. For those always agitated by material conditions, the yogic process is recommended so that one may concentrate his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the heart. Dhyana avastita tad gatena manasa pasyanti yam yoginaha. Because in material conditions, the mind and senses are always agitated by the yogic procedures like dharana, asana, dhyana. One must quiet the mind and concentrate it upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, the yogic process is a material attempt to realize the Lord, whereas bhakti, devotional service, is the spiritual process by which to realize Krishna. Maharaj Khatvanga accepted the spiritual path, and therefore he was no longer interested in anything material. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 18:55, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only by devotional service can I be understood. One can understand Krishna, the Para-Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only through devotional service. The Lord never says that one can understand him by performing mystic yoga or by philosophically speculating. Bhakti is above all such material attempts. Anya bilasita sunyam jnana karmadi nabhitam. Bhakti is uncontaminated by karma, jnana, or yoga, by material ritual practices, by developing tremendous knowledge, or by developing mystic powers. It's above that. In fact, those things are considered obstacles to bhakti yoga. Although they may help a little bit and controlling the mind and the senses, they will not lead to love of God, love of Krishna. Bhakti is uncontaminated, being unalloyed even by jnana and pious activities. So Khatvanga Maharaj continues, therefore, I should now give up my attachment for things created by the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I should engage in thought of the Lord and should thus surrender unto Him. This material creation, having been created by the external energy of the Lord, is like an imaginary town visualized on a hill or in a forest. Every conditioned soul has a natural attraction and attachment for material things, but one must simply give up this attachment and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport by Prabhupada. When passing through a mountainous region in an airplane, one may sometimes see a city in the sky with towers and palaces, or one may see similar things in a big forest. This is called Gandharva Pura, a phantasmagoric, in other words, a mirage, or something that's imagined. This entire world resembles such a phantasmagoria, and every materially situated person has attachment for it. But Khatvanga Maharaj, because of his advanced Krishna consciousness, was not interested in such things. Even though a devotee may engage in apparently materialistic activities, he knows his position very well. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. If one engages all material things in relation with the loving service of the Lord, one is situated in Yukta Vairagya, or proper renunciation. So the Mayavadis, they give up things. Devotees, they use everything in service, Krishna's service. That's a major difference between impersonalism and personalism. The devotees use everything in Krishna's service. The Mayavadis give things up, saying, this is material, I'm not touching it. Just like Mayavadi gurus, when someone offers them money, they said, no, I don't touch money. Give it to my disciple. Well, that's the same thing, right? You give it to the disciple is going to use it for the guru. But he gives a phony stance. Oh, I never touched money. I give it to my disciple. That's a bunch of nonsense, But people like nonsense. Have you ever watched a comedian, an American comedian, when they're doing their performance? Is there anything that they say that has any value to it? No, it's all nonsense. And people are laughing. That was so funny. But it's all nonsense. They're speaking nonsense. See, that's called comedy. But actually, it's tragedy. Okay, you're just wasting your time listening to that nonsense. In this material world, nothing should be accepted for one's sense gratification. Everything should be accepted for the service of Krishna. This is the mentality of the spiritual world. So we're trying to train our mind to enter into the spiritual world. You don't train it by watching cartoons or watching, Comedy Central. You train it by always thinking and acting to please Krishna. Everything should be accepted for the service of Krishna. This is the mentality of the spiritual world. Maharaj Khatvanga advises that one give up material attachments and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus one achieves success in life. This is pure bhakti yoga, which involves vairagya vidya, renunciation and knowledge. Vairagya vidya nija bhakti yoga, shiksartam eka purusha purana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sarirara Dhari, Kripam Buddhir Yas Tam Aham Prapadye. Let me surrender unto the Personality of Godhead, who has appeared now as Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the ocean of all mercy and has come down to teach us material detachment, learning, and devotional service to himself. Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka, 674. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurated this movement of Vairagya Vidya, renunciation through knowledge, or renunciation with knowledge. by which one detaches himself from material existence and engages in loving devotional service. The Krishna consciousness movement of devotional service is the only process by which to counteract our false prestige in this material world. Thus, Maharaj Khatvanga, by his advanced intelligence in rendering service to the Lord, gave up false identification with the body full of ignorance. In his original position of eternal servitorship, he engaged himself in rendering service to the Lord. Purport by Prabhupada. When one actually becomes purely Krishna conscious, no one has any right to rule over him. When situated in Krishna consciousness, one is no longer in the darkness of ignorance. And when freed from all such darkness, one is situated in his original position. Jivera Swarupahaya Nityera Krishna Das. The living entity is eternally the servant of the Lord, and thus, when he engages himself in the service of the Lord, in all respects, he enjoys the perfection of life. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva Krishna, is extremely difficult to understand for unintelligent men who accept him as impersonal or void, which he is not. The Lord is therefore understood and sung or glorified about by pure devotees. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1-11, Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajganamadvayan brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabhyate. The Absolute Truth is realized in three phases as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the origin of everything. Brahman is a partial representation of Bhagavan, and Vasudeva, the Supersoul, living everywhere and in everyone's heart, is also an advanced realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when one comes to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, Sarvamiti, when one realizes that Vasudeva, or Krishna, is both Paramatma and the impersonal Brahman, he is then in perfect knowledge. Krishna is therefore described by Arjuna as Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavam. The words Param Brahma refer to the shelter of the impersonal Brahman and also of the all-pervading Supersoul. When Krishna says, Tyakvadeham Punarjanma, Naitimam Eti Sarjuna, this means that the perfect devotee, after perfect realization, returns home back to Godhead. Maharaj Khatvanga accepted the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and because of his full surrender, he achieved perfection. So, we read this because Lord Ramachandra, or Lord Rama, appears in the dynasty of Maharaj Khatvanga. So you can see what an exalted lineage the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in. So, later on today, we will read from chapter 10 in the 9th canto, the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. Are there any questions anyone would like to ask? Yes.
You mentioned about astrology.
I mentioned about astrology, yes.
But we also hear that at least for marriage proposals and all, we should look at horoscopes. Is that also not required?
You spell that horoscope, H-O-R-R-O-R, horoscope, yes. Yes, one devotee did that some time ago for this one girl, and he came and spoke to me in private. He said, Prabhu, I just got the horoscope done for myself and the girl I want to marry, and he came back horrible. He said, the astrologer said, don't marry this girl. She's a horrible person. What should I do? I said, well, Prabhu, and this is a true story now. I said, well, Prabhu, if you're not planning to become a devotee, then you better listen to what it says. But if you're planning to become a devotee and your prospective wife is also planning to become a devotee, then just ignore it because it's nonsense. He listened to me. He married her. They have 2 wonderful children, and they're very dedicated to each other. They're both devotees. They're both good devotees. Right? But if he had listened to the horoscope, he would have rejected her and looked for another girl. This is a true story. It happened right here. So if you're not planning to be a devotee, yeah, you have to listen to that because you're under the influence of your previous karma. And through astrology, you can understand what the previous karma is and what the future karma is going to be. But if you're a devotee, it doesn't pertain to you. Why? Well, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharmam puritya jamami kam saranam braja ham tvam sarvapapepyo moksisyami masucha. Just surrender unto me, and I will protect you. You have nothing to fear. But also in the Brahma Samhita, he says that, let me get that right. He says, Yastrindra Gopam of Trivendra Mahosvakarma, Bandhan Rupa Phalam Bhajanam Atanoti, Karmani Nirdahati Bindu, Shabakti Bhajam, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who burns up to their roots all fruitive activities of those who are imbued with devotion. So that means that if you engage in devotional service, all your previous karma is burned up. And you engage in devotional service under the tutelage of bona fide Shiksha and Diksha gurus. All your previous karma is burned up. You're free. You cannot engage in devotional service unless you're free of your previous karma. Yesam twanta katam papam jananam punya karmanam. Te dvandva mohanir mukta bhajante mam dritavrata. So, 7th chapter, 28th verse, Krishna tells Arjuna, persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So when you see a person who's fully engaged in Krishna's service, you know that they're free of their previous karma. Now, they can still make mistakes and get new karma, even though they're initiated. But that's a very serious thing because it affects the guru also. So if someone is contemplating initiation, or if someone is initiated, you have to realize the vow that we make at initiation is very severe, very serious, because at the point of initiation, one is purified of all sinful reactions. Therefore, you're able to take up devotional service seriously. Now, if one commits sins after initiation, that's new karma. But that karma affects the guru also, or the gurus also. So you're not only doing bad to yourself, you're going to harm the guru also. So therefore, one should not take advantage of the fact that the guru is obliged to come back as long as you stay in the material world. And Prabhupada said, don't take advantage of this, because you're just causing trouble, not only to yourself, but to the guru. So, yes, the horoscope for a devotee is a horoscope. It's not really necessary. But yet, devotees still do it. But there's an example I gave you, a devotee who did it. And if he had listened to the horoscope, he would not have married that girl. And the girl is actually a very good devotee. So by devotional service, you overcome all the downside of previous karma, fortunately. Because karma is not eternal. 4 things are eternal: Krishna, the jiva, material nature, karma, and time. Fortunately, karma is not eternal. Otherwise, we'd all be in a big mess. There would be no possibility of us getting free of karma. Karma is not eternal. It can change at any time, especially by surrender to Krishna. Any other questions? Yeah.
You mentioned about seeing things in relationship to Krishna.
Yes.
And even though if I look for myself, even within devotee community, and you can speak to anyone,
Well, wait a minute. If that person's a real devotee, they're in relationship to Krishna. So you're related to Krishna through the devotee. If you speak to a non-devotee, what you're saying is true. But if you're speaking to a real devotee, it's not true. That devotee is in relationship to Krishna.
But how I see that, my thinking says
You might see him perfectly, but if it's a real devotee, he doesn't see him perfectly, so he will direct you to Krishna. If you say, "Oh, Prabhu, there's this problem, I don't know what to do," what does the devotee say? "Prabhu, you should chant your rounds better. Go back to the basics, chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna." So what did he do? He connected you to Krishna right away. You say, "Wait a minute, I didn't come to hear this. I know about this Hare Krishna, but I have this problem, and I want to solve this one." He said, "Yes, all problems are solved by chanting Hare Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Take some more prasadam also. Come, stop sleeping so late every day. Come to Mangal Arati and see the deities, So he's going to connect you to Krishna. The non-devotee say, "Well, you better see a marriage counselor or a psychiatrist. You got a serious problem. The psychiatrist will say, "Well, according to Freud, if you deny sense gratification, it'll cause a psychosis." Well, wait a minute. Are they connecting you to Krishna? No. But if you approach a real devotee, because he or she is a real devotee, they'll connect you to Krishna. Whether you see them correctly or not. But they'll do their job. Their job is to connect people to Krishna. Any other questions?
Prabhu, Prabhu, I just wanted to ask about Maharaj Katvanga.
Yes.
Who was he was forefather of Lord Rama, as you said. Who was his Ishtadev, or whom did he worship?
Who was he worshipping?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Well, wait a minute. No. He was a Krishna devotee. It says here he was a Krishna devotee. His family were Krishna devotees. We just read it. Anyway, he was a Krishna devotee. No doubt about it.
Yeah, because
Okay, Maharaj Katvanga provides a typical example of a Krishna conscious person. A Krishna conscious, but he doesn't say Deva conscious or Shiva conscious or Durga conscious. He says Krishna conscious. That means he was worshipping Krishna. A Krishna conscious person does not see anything to be important but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor does he accept anything within this material world as being unconnected to the Supreme Lord. Okay? And then it also says, Maharaj Katvanga being in favor of the Brahminical culture wanted to utilize wanted to utilize one moment's time by fully surrendering unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is worshipped with this prayer, Namo Brahmanya Devaya. So in other words, when it says, the verse says, Maharaj Katvanga thought, not even my life is dearer to me than the Brahminical culture and the Brahmanas. Now Brahmanas are one is only a Brahmana if they worship Krishna. You're not a real Brahmana if you worship another deity. So Maharaj Katvanga was a worshipper and had great respect for Brahminical culture. That means he was a Krishna devotee. It says here, Brahma Janati Brahmana. Krishna is the Param Brahman, and therefore all Krishna conscious persons or devotees of Krishna are exalted Brahmanas. Katvanga regarded the devotees of Krishna as the real Brahmanas. You understand? A real Brahmana is only a Brahmana who worships Krishna. Other Brahmanas, they might call themselves Brahmanas, but they're not real Brahmanas. unless they worship Krishna or one of Krishna's expansions, such as Lord Vishnu or Narayana or Lord Rama, etc. So he was definitely a devotee. One who desires to advance in Krishna consciousness and spiritual understanding must give the utmost importance to Brahminical culture and must understand Krishna, Krishnaya Govindaya. Okay, so he was a Krishna devotee. Any other questions? Yes.
Just to me, like all these benefits are for a devotee. We always refer to a devotee, but there are gradations of devotees also. A person like me who is practicing and not even at the basic level. So for a person like me also, I'm not a pure devotee. So how do I get that kind of a benefit that all my sinful reactions have been?
Well, wait a minute. On what basis do you say that you're not? Let's say, I guess you're saying you're not a pure devotee.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're implying is that you're still
Practicing devotee and
what you're practicing, but you're implying that you're breaking some principles. When you say I'm not a pure devotee, you're implying that you're breaking some principles.
I am not breaking principles, but I'm
Okay,
not
then you're not controlling your mind. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but I'm not 24/7 engaged in Krishna's service.
What?
Like, I'm not always engaged in Krishna's service. I'm doing other
Oh,
things.
no, that's a mistaken concept. If whatever you're doing is pleasing to your guru, and guru means two, Shiksha and Diksha guru, then you are engaged in Krishna's service. Maybe you're not engaged in direct service all the time. But here's what Prabhupada says. Now listen to this. This answers your question. It's in the 18th chapter, 6th verse, Bhagavad Gita. Or, one second. And it is said in Bhagavad Gita's purport, 18th chapter, 11th verse, It is said in Bhagavad Gita that one can never give up work at any time. Therefore, he who works for Krishna and does not enjoy the fruitive results, who offers everything to Krishna, is actually a renouncer. There are many members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness who work very hard in their office or in the factory or some other place, and whatever they earn, they give to the society. Such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renounced order of life. It is clearly outlined here how to renounce the fruits of work and for what purpose fruits should be renounced. So if you follow this grihastha sannyasi path, you are directly engaged in Krishna's service. Because, okay, now, does this mean like you earn $100,000 a year, you give $100,000 to the temple, and you live in a cardboard box under the highway with your family, and you eat out of garbage cans? No, that's not what it means. It means that you give, let's say, whatever is acceptable by your spiritual mentors. So, not tormentors, or mentors, right? So if that's 10% of what you earn every year, then that's 10%. Or if they say, okay, now it should be 15%, then it's 15%. And later on they say, well, look, now your kids graduated college, now it should be 50%, then it's 50%, right? And then before you die, you bequeath your whole estate to the temple, right? So that when you and your wife die, everything goes to the temple. So this is basically what Rupa and Sanatan Goswami did. Okay? But if you give nothing but lip service, then, that's nonsense. Right? As a grihastha, see, grihasthas have to sacrifice. They sacrifice. And brahmacharis and sannyasis, they have to do severe austerities, right? But grihasthas have to sacrifice. And what is the ultimate sacrifice for a grihastha? Money. Because money is the honey. Right? But you know, we're not telling you, you know, live in a cardboard box. You know, you can get a new cardboard box every day to throw them out. You know, but that's not what it means. You have to take care of your family, but you also have to give. You know, and do service. So Ambarish Maharaj was an ideal grihastha. You can study his life, lifestyle. He was ideal grihastha. Any other questions? So we read from the 18th chapter, 11th verse. In other words, you ask a question, I should be able to show you where Prabhupada answers, or Krishna answers the question. Any other questions? Okay, no questions, no answers. Then we'll chant until they open the deities. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So today's a very auspicious day, Sri Ram Navami. At 10 o'clock there's a wedding of Sita and Ram. And after that there'll be continual reading and chanting. Haribol.
Hello.
First about Govindam prayers after that.
Happy ball.
Make sound, otherwise they won't know.
You want to sing? You want to sing? You want to try? Harry? He's not feeling alright.
You switched it up, right? Okay. దేనికి ఇది ఎవరు పెడతారు ఇక్కడ లాడ్ని పెడతారు హరే కృష్ణ బాబు హలో చూసాలే దొరికింది నాదే వేరే వాళ్ళు ఆయన మెసేజ్ ఎక్కడ పోతే నాకు తెలియదు చూడాలి
You didn't go.
हैं रास्ता कैसे बना सकते हैं
Acharya,
चल
I switched on the lights and making sounds here. Making sounds so that
Oh, is it?
you guys now don't.
So pretty. I saw it.
See, it's Ram Navami, very serious. Okay.
I saw it. I saw it. It's so pretty. It's like purple.
After Govinda. Okay.
It's so pretty. See, you can see it. It's purple.
No, it's not broken.
Why? I just can't. Because, no, the thing, the dress. I love seeing new dresses. I wish every day was a new dress.
No, every day is not a new job.
I know. I wish.
They would spend so much money.
Are you singing? Yes. No. Quiet. Okay, quiet. It's gonna be on.
It's not going to say something.
Hello.
I told you.
No, it's gonna. My dad's gonna on it. Okay, wait.
So pretty. I have to see Ram. Oh my god. What did they do?
I love Papa. Pick it up.
I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna die.
No, look at Ram.
Oh my god. The back part is the prettiest. Look at Jagannath. Oh my god.
No. Ram's feet are showing.
Where?
They can't sing properly. Sometimes they don't sing properly. See? No.
Do you know what's different about Ram?
What?
He has a flower waist belt.
What's the noise about? I sure am. I'm not singing.
അടുത്ത ആഴ്ച സിംഗ് ചെയ്യാം. നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഓക്കെ ചേച്ചിയുടെ കൂടെ സിംഗ് ചെയ്യും.
It'll be on. Your dad will switch on once you start singing.
Yeah.
Who's singing?
What?
Who's singing?
I
Your
don't know.
sister. Where is she?
I don't know. If she's not coming, then I'll probably sing.
Catch it.
I mean, she doesn't really want to sing. That's why she's mad.
यशोमती नंदन ब्रजपरनागर गोकुल रंजन काना गोपी परणदन मदन मनोहर गोपी परणदन मदन मनोहर कालिया दमन विदाना अमला हरिना ममिया विलासा अमला हरिना ममिया विलासा विपिन पुरंदर नवीन नगर बोरा बंसी बदन सुवासा प्रजजाना पालना सुरकुलना सना प्रजजाना पालना सुरकुलना सना नंदा गोदान रखवाला गोविंद माधव नवनीत तस्कर गोविंद माधव नवनीत तस्कर सुंदर नंद गोपाला यमुना तट चरा गोपी पासना हरा रासा रसिका कृपा मोया श्री राधा वल्लभ वृंदावन नाटबना श्री राधा वल्लभ वृंदावन नाटबरा भक्ति विनोदाश्रया यशोमती नंदन ब्रजभर नागर गोकुल रंजन काना गोपी परान दन मदन मनोहरा गोपी परान दन मदन मनोहरा कालिया दमन विधाना हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा नीला माधव राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय सीताराम जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान जय सीताराम जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol.
Okay. We'll push in, yeah. Push towards the...
You want to do it? Come, push. What do you want? What do you want to do? You want to do it? Come, push. Come. First they will put carpet.
The wheel is on the carpet.
లేకపోతే లిఫ్ట్ చేయండి.
Yeah, beta, just put it like that. They stretch it up and it becomes long.